Yo, what's good? Welcome to Observing the Process. Before we start, I'm hoping you can help me out by supporting the show. You can rate and review it on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you listen. You can share it with your friends, you can blog about it, or discuss it on your own podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, you can subscribe to my channel and like this video, or you can support it directly. You can do this by going to my website. I'll leave a link in the description. Thank you for supporting the show. Listeners like you make it possible. Today on the show, I had Camilo Koch. Camilo is a filmmaker working on a project making a film every day for 1,000 days. We talked about Camilo's life leading up to where he is now and the meaning behind his films. Please give it up for Camilo Koch.
In the land of China, people hardly got nothing at all.
No possessions?
And in China, they never go to church.
No religion too?
Or do magic.
Well, it's easy if you try, Dick.
3, 2, 1. Okay, we're live. Camilo, thank you for inviting me to your space.
Thank you for coming to my space to record your podcast.
Yeah. So we're doing a little bit of a special episode right now. I've been invited to come check out this studio space. And we met through, I don't even know how we met. I was just going through my Instagram and I saw, like, you posted a photo of the iPhones, right?
Right.
Yeah, that was the first thing. So I saw the photo of the iPhones and then we were talking and I saw you had this drone group and we had so much in common. So I thought it'd be cool to just come over and see what's up. So can you tell me, why did you even post that iPhone photo? What was the story behind that? You just liked the photo itself?
I like things organized, in a very, very tidy way, as you can see here.
Definitely. Yeah. So right now we're in Camilo's studio and it's very minimalist, I would say. Only the bare bones of what you need, which I kind of enjoy because recently I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on minimalism and it's really encouraged me to try and, slim down. So can you tell me, how did this studio space start? How did you start this studio space?
I decided to slim down by myself first because I ride e-boards. I ride boosted boards. So I was just getting 10 kilometers of range. But I was like, all my friends are getting 15 kilometers from the boards because they are so thin, so skinny. So I said, I have to lose some weight.
Sure.
So then I started slimming myself down and I got to 69 kilos and I improved the range of the boosted board. And that made me very, very happy. So I said, I have to apply that rule to my life, to everything. So I started getting rid of all the stuff that I wasn't using in a week. Like if something stayed or something was on the shelf for more than a week without me touching it, I got rid of it. And that made me extremely focused on what was important. And that's what I applied to this studio. Only the essentials.
So the inspiration for becoming a minimalist started with your weight, actually.
Right.
What did you say your starting weight was?
89
to 6, so losing 20 kg.
Yes.
That's pretty substantial. It's pretty good. Congrats, man. That's
Thank
pretty
you.
awesome. Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it because most people would, for me at least, I just look at the clutter in my life and I'm like, I think if I can, clear my mind, that would help me become more focused. So tell me more about that. So after you achieved your goal of losing weight, did that spread to the rest of your life, trying to become more minimalist? Or
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see the changes. First, you see people looking at you differently. I wasn't fat, but I felt fat. People can feel that from you. You have an area around you when you are feeling uncomfortable.
Sure.
That's key. You have to feel comfortable to spread comfort around you, to people around you. People will look at you differently when you are feeling good than when you are not feeling good.
Definitely. For me, right now, I'm actually going through a cleanse. This cleanse requires me to eat nothing the whole entire week. So I'm just doing these flaxseed and different type of minerals and vitamins, and you put them in. Oh, sorry. That's part of my cleanse right now. Actually, is supposed to be doing this next. It reminded me to do the vegetable broth and some other type of honey and vinegar mixed drink. So, anyways, what I'm getting at is this cleanse has made me realize just in 1 or 2 days of eating no food whatsoever, in a sense minimalizing what I'm doing, made me realize a lot of the eating I'm doing is related to stress eating. Like I just eat for the sake of like wanting to avert my attention from the task at hand, like something that's hard, like editing this video or writing this copy or whatever. Oh, I can just go eat. And it's not even because I'm hungry. So that was one thing I realized about this journey of being on this intense cleanse, because it's super hard for me to not eat anything for 5 days. Have you ever done anything like that? Any type of cleanse? Besides the boosted board thing you were telling me about, how else did you go about losing weight for yourself?
Well, it was very, very funny. Something very similar to your case.
Really?
I was working at this company that was super far from the city, countryside, basically. You had nothing to eat, nothing around, no restaurants, no McDonald's. Basically, I only have a grocery store. It was all vegetables and fruits. And then I said, well, this is a great opportunity to start. And that was the moment when I started like on this losing weight period or getting healthier period. I started cooking, controlling all the process. Because when you eat in a restaurant, you cannot control anything. You basically just choose what to eat, but you don't know how is the process of making that meal. So I never cooked before. That was pretty funny. I learned how to boil potatoes and I learned how to cut salmon. Until the point that I got very expert on cutting salmon. I spent 20 hours learning how to cut salmon every single day. And that was the period of my life when I started to be more conscious about food and about what you put into your body. Crucial.
Definitely. I feel so much more focused and clear-headed. Like yesterday was extremely hard for me, actually. It was the second day of the cleanse and second day without eating any food, just drinking liquids, mostly water. And today is actually feeling so much better. I feel I'm not hungry, which is so crazy to me to think like I haven't eaten in 3 days, but I'm not hungry. I realize I am taking these vitamins and they say they have protein in them and vegetable broth, which it's just so interesting to see how like I really thought I would be dying by now. I thought it'd be so difficult. And something else that this cleanse has kind of taught me is like, even though I want to eat almost every hour of the day, it's kind of like I set this hard limit. Like, no, I absolutely cannot eat. It's just not an option. And it's making this, it's just making me more excited for the finish line. Like when I hit the finish line, I'm going to be so excited on Saturday morning to go like have brunch with my girlfriend and kind of just like enjoy this thing that has been a part of my life forever, just eating a meal and something like a cleanse or restricting yourself, creating discipline for yourself. It's super important. Do you have any stories about creating discipline? Because you were starting to go into it with cutting salmon, about how all you did was focus on cutting salmon. Do you have anything else that you think you could share with us?
Yeah, I was so undisciplined before that. All this time, this period that I've been courting myself has been like a training for me to learn how to focus, to learn how to be more disciplined. From the moment you start looking at yourself on the video, you start looking how you were 2 years ago. How do you react to certain things in life? You start to put yourself in the right direction. You start correcting all the mistakes that you have been doing during this past time.
Yeah. So for my audience, why don't you give a little bit of a background of yourself, where you're from, and your YouTube channel, because I think that's super important for people to understand.
Oh yes. I was born and raised in Chile, in South America, which I really appreciate. It's a great country, great cities. Then I moved to China when I was 23. That was 10 years ago. To this land of opportunities. That's how I like calling it. For me, China really has been the place where I have been able to discover myself. That's it. This is like the long journey. These 10 years, I've been just focusing on discovering myself. I didn't do that before. I didn't know what my talents were. I didn't know what I was good at. I was just living the life. I went to high school. I went to university. I studied something that my parents wanted me to study. Then I of course, you fail. I failed. Then I moved into something that I liked. And then I started this journey to focus myself, to putting myself on path, in the path that I wasn't.
Okay, tell me a little bit about Chile then. What was your experience like growing up there? Did you go to university? How was high school? Things like that. I'm always, with all of my guests, I always try and talk about life before China because there's always a story of how you got here. So if you could share a little bit about the road before China, like what was that like career-wise, life-wise, family-wise?
The road before China.
Yeah.
Very interesting question because it's pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
I will summarize it and I will just describe it as it was. I was scared. I was scared of being like everyone else. I was scared of getting a job, becoming like one of them. I was so scared of becoming one of them. So I decided to jump on a plane and to change that.
Wow. And was China at the top of the list, or what drove you to come to Shanghai? Or was Shanghai even the first place in China that you moved to?
Oh, it wasn't. It wasn't. I landed in Wuhan, in Hubei province.
Okay. Yeah, not familiar, but...
It's geographically the middle point of China.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Was that thought out? Was that on purpose, or
No, it wasn't.
you just chose any spot on the map in China?
Oh, I didn't choose that place.
Okay.
I came here to study to get my postgraduate degrees.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get to choose the place. I did apply for
That's
Shanghai.
so funny. That's so to a previous guest, my guest Charlie. He wanted to study in America, and his school like demanded he go to Missouri, which is like so random in America. And that's funny that these schools, they demand you go to a certain place.
Right. It's random, but as I understand, randomness doesn't exist. You go to that place because someone else clicked the mouse and choose the option for you. It's not quite random. I'm never going to know who did the decision for me exactly because I'm sure it was a person behind. Thank you to that person. Well, let's say it was random. Yeah, it was kind of random. I spent there 7 years. I pursued my master's degree, and I like it. I like it there.
7 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not on master's degree. After the master's degree, I applied for my PhD degree.
You stayed in Hubei for 7 years.
Yes.
So tell me about getting there. Like, what was your first impression? You probably spoke no Chinese, right?
Zero Chinese.
Zero Chinese. Did you have any mutual friends or like meet any?
Nothing.
Nothing. So what is it like getting off the plane and having to figure out everything for yourself? Have you left Chile much since then, or like traveled outside of Chile?
Yeah, I did some traveling, but never that far.
Yeah, that's across the globe. That's almost as far as you can go.
Yeah, but I decided to burn the ship. And I decided to start this, let's call it minimalistic journey, where I put everything. And that was the first time that I did this experiment, to be on your own with all what you can put on a luggage, all what you can put on a bag, and forget everything else. From that day, I started loving minimalism and loving to move around with everything you need on your bag. It's great.
Yeah.
It feels great. So that was the starting point of this journey.
Putting everything on your back. Would you give any advice to anyone to maybe either move slowly into something like that, or just to dive head into that type of lifestyle? Because a lot of people like to know, decision making, and a strategic approach to how to change their life. So would you recommend diving head in first, or slowly, making yourself more minimalistic?
Never slow.
Never slow.
Never slow. If you move slow, you're going to start thinking about a plan B and C and D and E in case you fail. Definitely. If you move quickly, if you move fast, you don't have time for a plan B.
Just have to focus on plan A.
Right. And if it doesn't work, just find a way to make it work.
Right. So you spent 7 years in Hubei doing mostly education, right?
Right.
How did you make your way to Shanghai?
My camera.
Your camera.
My camera, yeah.
Have you always been into the video and photo since you can remember, or what was your first camera even?
Always. Since I was 4 years old. I got this is very interesting because have you heard about hypertimese? Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. I never heard that word before last month. there is a small amount of people that can remember things that nobody else can remember. You remember things that are not important for you. And you happen to be able to recall those memories all in a sudden. So I remember many things from my childhood that people say that, oh, you're crazy, you're just making that out. And no, I'm not. I remember vividly exactly all the details from when I was very, very little. So when I was 4 years old, I made this trip with my grandmother, and she was carrying a camera with her, but she didn't know how to use it. So she gave it to me and say, take a picture of me. And I did prepare the camera without knowing how to do it. I never held a camera before.
When was it? What year was this?
That was year 90s.
In the 90s.
In the
so
90s.
Probably a film camera.
Yes.
It's not so easy, not just some point and shoot.
I had no idea. She gave me the batteries and everything separately, and she said, just figure out how to use it and take a picture of me.
That's so fun.
And from that moment, I like it. During that trip, I was like taking photos of everything. I was the kid in charge of the camera later.
What do you think drew your interest so much to photography? Like, some people, it's the end product, being able to show what you created. Some people, it's the process, like actually, as you said, learning how to put the batteries in even. And what do you find most interesting about photography?
I'm not romantic with the process. For me, it's only a tool.
It's a tool.
What drove myself into photography and cameras is the ability to create memories, visual memories. When you try to remember something, I don't know exactly what happens in your brain. It's a chemical process that I have no idea about, but it creates the illusion of having a picture in your brain, of displaying a photo, of displaying a video. So for me, cameras are a tool that helps you remember, helps you complement these memories that you have in your brain.
Yeah. For me, I feel the same way. I mean, I got into video and photo. Mostly video was my starting point. I just wanted to film my friends skateboarding, and I thought it'd be cool to, share that on YouTube and just create fun videos. It's a very interesting tool to be able to have. And I've gotten into this conversation with other people about, process versus, like you said, you're not more romantic about the process. And I think I can agree in the fact that, like, you shouldn't get caught up in trying to do things a certain way. You should do things the way that you think, do things the way that work best for you, not because like someone else does it that way, so I should do it that way. But you should go about like editing a photo through your own steps, not through trying to, copy someone else's just because they're like an it person in the industry. But yeah. So tell me also about, your video projects, because you said you've been filming for almost 700 days. So what is the title of that project, if it has one, and where can people go to find it?
Almost 800 days.
Almost 800
days is going to happen on September 1st.
That's crazy.
And on that day, I'm going to run in the early morning and run at night in the same path that I've been running for these 2 years. I've been running every day, the same path. I would like to run without looking at the road. I think I'm able to do that right
Really? Because you just run it so many times.
Yeah, right. And I always have to jump in the same spot because someone parked a moto there and so on. It's funny. So that will happen on day 800. Yeah, I've been filming for 795 days and it has been amazing. I've been learning so much about myself, and that's the most interesting part of it. I've met incredible people on this journey.
Would you call it a vlog? Like you kind of document your day?
I hate that word.
I hate that word too. And that's why I didn't want to say it's a vlog, because for me, like, I've tried to vlog it and I looked at it as vlogging. And that's when I went wrong, because I tried to just hold the camera in front of my face and talk to it. And my only end goal was actually to get views. I didn't actually care about the story. And that's why I failed. And I guess I'm glad I failed, because I don't want to do that. So what I want to do is create stories. And I'm re-looking at it today. I'm trying to figure out, like, how can I, like this weekend, I'm going to go to Costco with my friend Theo. And we're just going to film a story about this new Costco that's opened up. And yesterday, it just came out that there was like a ton of people mobbed the store and totally just took over, and they had to shut it down because it was just, you know how sometimes things get crazy in China, like old people trying to get in and like take food, and it was chaos basically.
Was it really that cheap?
It's not about cheap even, but I think it's more like, I don't even know how to answer this question. Like, have you seen it? Like, for example, Uniqlo did a collaboration with Cause, and you know, there's hypebeasts that just wait in line and try and get it. This happens often in China where people they'll wait in line and there'll just be a frenzy to try and get it before it runs out. So I think it's about limited release, but with Costco, it shouldn't have been about limited release. That's why I want to go and find out more. Like what was happening? Was there limited stock of stuff, or why did people kind of go crazy to get in on all this stuff? So that's the story that I'm going to try and make. Anyways, I've learned that your intentions should be very clear from the beginning about what you want your outcome to be, or at least have goals. For me, I should have realized my goals of just wanting to get views or, you know, be like another type of vlogger was not a good goal to have. So what were your goals when you were starting out? You said like self-betterment, or tell me more.
To discover my talents. I didn't know what I was good at. I needed someone to look at me for 1,000 days. Why 1,000 days? Well, 1,000 days is 4% of life.
Tell me about some of the experiences that you've had along the way, like some of the things you've realized you're not so good at.
I was so bad with people, like to getting along with people, to talk to people. I didn't know how to talk to people, basically.
Right. It's a lot of practice. You're just constantly, you know, practicing every day, like trying to talk to an audience, right? Yeah.
I'm talking to strangers.
Yeah, even talking to strangers. Yeah. Well, tell me, I actually haven't seen any of your videos yet because we like just met. But tell me about like the average length of your video, like what someone could expect to watch. Because I'm trying to get an idea in my head of what the videos are. If you're filming yourself every single day, it just takes up so much of your time. Like that's so much dedication.
That's exactly what I didn't want it to be. I didn't want it to take time from my life. I wanted to be my life. Sometimes I just felt that I wanted to film myself when I was waking up, and that was all the video.
That's the whole. I like that approach because a lot of people will let vlogging take over their life. Like it has to be
from morning to night, right?
Yeah, a lot of people will do that. And if you want to just film yourself waking up that day, like that's the vlog today. That's an interesting way to go about it.
Yeah. Well, one of the good things that I learned from this 795 days so far was to plan. To really know what you're going to do in the next 100 days, in the next 500. I already know what I'm going to do in the day 1,000.
Wow.
And when I was on my day 200, I already knew, I was already getting good at planning, so I already knew what I was going to do when I reached 500 days and so on. Planning is one of the things that I have learned to accomplish very well.
Something I'm finding interesting about your story is like, you have this goal of 1,000 days. And a lot of people think that like, oh, if they make a goal, once I hit that goal, like I'll be successful. Everything will be good. Everything will be great. Like I'll have made it. What I've learned is you never make it. You'll never be successful because every time you hit a goal, you're going to want the goal that you want in front of you. So how do you feel about that? Do you think that's a problem, or do you think that's like a good thing?
That's the beauty of life. You never end. You never finish a task at all, because there is always something else coming. 1,000 days is just because I'm a maniac of rounded numbers, but it's not only about 1,000 days. Learning about yourself is a never-ending process.
Right.
We're human, and that's the magic of being human. You can always get better or something, or you can always do something else. But you can't get so romantic about this. You can't think, today I'm going to learn how to write a book and so on. You got to stay focused, and you have to plan ahead. What is your ultimate goal? And this is what all these 1,000 videos are. The name of this project is One Opportunity. I believe that one opportunity is everything you need in order to succeed. And I want to prove that. I don't know if after 1,000 days I'm going to be successful or not. Probably I suspect that I'm going to fail. I'm not going to be able to achieve my goal.
Is there a hard goal?
It's a very hard goal.
What is the goal? The goal, you said the goal is to find yourself, to learn more about what you're good at, right?
Exactly.
That's the goal. And I think for me, like, yeah, I guess you could find one thing that you're good at. Sure, that could happen. But to find the thing that you'll do for the rest of your life, like, do you even want to find one thing that you would do for the rest of your life? Because for me, like, I don't want to do one thing for the rest of my life. I really enjoy doing podcasting, creating content, producing videos. So I teach skateboard lessons. I do so many different things. And like, I don't think, because if you want to find what you're good at, great. But do you want to find just one thing, because it seems like such an open-ended thing, and that's why it could be a good goal. It's not necessarily like you reach that space. Like, I guess you're setting yourself up for failure, which could be good. That's my take on it.
I believe that humans are born to be good at only one thing.
Really?
That's my theory. And that's what I want to prove.
Is there anyone in history that you would say is like that is like an example of that person?
Yes. Have you heard about Jiro?
Jiro, no. Tell me about Jiro.
Jiro is a very famous, very, very famous person in Japan. He has been making sushi for almost 70 years, basically all his life. And he has this incredible sushi restaurant in Tokyo. It's very hard to find. It's very hard to get a reservation from it. It's very expensive. Great inspiration, great guy. There are plenty of short films and long format films about his life and all his self-discovery process. Catching salmon, catching fish for 70 years is simply amazing. He's the greatest example I can give you of focus and of doing only one thing all your life.
Wow.
He's the greatest.
That's inspiring. I've been having the debate a little bit with my girlfriend as well, because I feel like I'm too scatterbrained right now. I do too many things, which is not making me be a professional at
which
just
is
one
normal.
of them.
It's very normal. It's part of the process. I'm still doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm still doing podcasts. I'm still doing the video project. Inside of that video project, I'm doing product reviews but I'm trying to discard things that I'm not good at. That's the thing. It's hard for us to do that because we want, as humans, we want to fulfill all the minutes of the time when we are awake. We want to feel useful. We want to feel that we are doing something for someone. We are doing something that makes us feel happy, and so on. It's not in our nature to reduce the amount of things that we can do in a day. It's not in our nature to simplify the life, to do only one thing. It's not natural.
I definitely feel the same way. It's like if I don't feel like I got something done that day, I'm not a good tired. I'm a bad tired. A good tired is like, yes, I could shut the laptop. I feel like I accomplished something. A bad tired is like, I didn't do anything. I didn't check off any of my boxes today. I just sat around. I didn't really finish that email or, get back to the person I really needed to get back to. Something that's helped me out a lot with that is very structured to-do lists. That helps me out a lot for being productive. What do you got going on for productivity? To-do lists or
nothing? Nothing. I just know what's coming up. Every morning I sit down and I don't write down the things that I have to do. I just think about them.
Really?
And the funny thing is that by doing that, you realize what is really important and what is not. It's so easy for us to go to the online stores. Here it's called Taobao. It's like eBay.
Yeah.
It's so easy to go there and get whatever you want from there. But the question is, are you going to use it? So I started this thing of adding the products that I want to own to the cart without buying them. And if I hear on my brain about them in the next 24 hours, means that I really want it. If I hear from them in the next 72 hours, means that I really, really want them. And then I go and buy them. And it turns out that all the things that I have on my car, I never remember them after 24 hours.
That's a very interesting way to look at it.
It's just an impulse.
Yeah.
It's just an impulse. And as humans, we are very good at filling up the blanks. By buying stuff, we are just filling up the blanks. We're just satisfying probably something that we are missing from our childhood. We never had. In my case, I never had a Game Boy when I was children. So I went to the online stores and I bought, I think I have like 20 Game Boys.
Really?
I just fill up the blanks.
You mean Game Boy games? Or?
Game Boy is the machine
You
for
have 20
playing
games?
I have 20.
Did you like to connect?
I went on a rage. I was like, I never had one, so I want to have them all.
Wow.
And now they are collecting dust.
Right. Right. For me, I feel the same way, but like I'm like to collect iPhones. Like that's how we started this conversation.
Right.
So do you make certain exceptions? Like I guess you said if it passes that 72-hour mark, that's where your exception would lie.
Right.
So yeah, for me, yeah, I'm going to take that into my life for sure. Just kind of the checkout thing, like whether you, if you remember it, then sure, it might be worthwhile. But what about like, you only do stuff throughout the day that you want to do, but what about like, you got to get paid. Like, how do you make money? What are you doing to make money right now? Very, very up and honest question.
Yes.
Because like you're a creator and like it's all good and great. You get to do what you love to do.
I make product photography.
Mm-hmm.
I make product videography. I like interviewing people. And there's plenty of people that is willing to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, I get money as an extension of these videos that I've been filming for 1,000 days.
Sure.
These videos are also examples of my work, are examples of what I can do.
Because I was just looking, like you said, you don't have a to-do list, you just do. For me, I mean, maybe you have like a superior brain because I just can't remember like so many things going on. So like if like a client asks me to like, oh, we have a shoot at this day, I for sure write it down. I'm sure you write some stuff down, but
nothing.
You write nothing down.
The key is that you have to get used to close. Always be closing. That comes from... I don't know if you know Casey Neistat.
Yeah.
Always be closing means always finish a stuff. You don't get into something new if you are not able to finish the previous one. If you are always getting into new stuff, you will just get lost. Basically, a to-do list is not going to help you out with that. Always be closing.
Yeah, I don't know. I somewhat agree. Like I agree with the philosophy of it, but I definitely still need like a little bit of a to-do list to remind me like what's most important. What I do is this. If it's on my to-do list and I don't get to it after like 5 or 10 days, I just get rid of it because it's like not meant to happen. So I think like that's where our philosophies could align a little bit, but I definitely still need some structure in my life to have like it's like a ritual with starting my day, like have my coffee, sit down on my computer and okay, what's the first thing on my to-do list? Because I like to prepare my stuff for the next day. So if you're able to do that without the physical to-do list, I guess you just have it in your mind in a sense. That's the only difference.
I think the difference between you and me is that you have too many things to do.
Maybe. Yeah, I agree. And like what I'm trying to get better at is getting rid of certain things because as humans, we're only capable of doing so much. It's not you're not going to have a good quality of life if you overload yourself with
Definitely
stuff.
not.
So how do you deal with that? With filming every day for the past, you said like 785 days. What is your downtime? Like, what do you do for downtime? Do you like to meditate? Like, I know you said you run. So tell me about being off of work.
I don't have a downtime.
You don't have a downtime. No. So how do you feel? Do you feel relaxed then all day? Or like, how do you manage, work versus, or is everything just work to you?
24 hours a day, I feel so relaxed because I do exactly what I want to do.
Okay. So you're always doing, I guess I can understand that. What about hobbies? Like you said, you like to run. What else?
But it's not a hobby.
That's for your physical fitness.
It's health.
Yeah.
To keep the motor running.
Definitely.
Yes. Everything that I choose to do in my life is to keep it running. You see me here having a notebook. I like thinking and writing down what I think so I can this is like my final cut. My notebook is the final cut of my ideas. So I have this notebook usually when I feel stressed, which is very, very little time of my day. I use that stress to get the most out of my ideas. I've been learning how to befriend with the stress and how to use stress
as a tool.
Yeah, right. As a tool to filter the bad and get the good from that moment where you are feeling that stress. It's a very complex thing. I could explain it, but I don't know if it's going to work for someone else. It's a very personal thing. I believe that when you are on this journey of finding who you are, you discover many, many things. You discover what is good for you, what is not good for you. And this is one of the things that I've been doing for the last 200 days, at least 200 days. Writing. Yeah, writing.
Writing your thoughts, writing your feelings, writing your ideas.
I wasn't writing before. I was drawing during the same periods of time when you feel stressful. Some people like doodling, and some other people like going for a run. Or I like taking a pen and putting down the things that are actually on my brain during that stress period.
Yeah, this is not the first time I've heard this. I think it is very positive for a lot of people.
Well, usually people smoke.
Yeah. Sure.
I just write down ideas. It's a different way to decompressing.
Yeah. I admire that, and I think it's a very good thing to be doing for your mental health as well. Because like we talked about, keeping the body going. This sounds like a way of keeping the mental health strong.
Right.
Yeah.
It is, and it works. I'm not sure if it's going to work for everyone that is listening to this podcast, but you can give it a try. You have to find what is good for you, what works for you, and what is not working for you. For me, writing works. And at the same time, this writing is exactly the writing that I use for create the next videos. So I just think ahead. Planning is also happening in the writing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, in terms of like getting into your videos, we talked a little bit about how they can be as simple as you just waking up, but do you ever plan out your videos for YouTube specifically? Do you come up with like for example, Luis Castro, who I had on, the way he does his videos is cinema verite, which is the idea of just like letting the story go where it wants to go. And that's actually like kind of a romantic way to look at how like the traditional air quotes vlogs are today. So would you subscribe to that style of filming, or do you have a different process for if you wanted to get more specific rather than just how you're feeling that day?
I don't vlog. So basically I don't start my videos by saying, hi guys, or today. What I do is to create problems. I figure out a problem that I will have on that day, or I'm already having, and I analyze that problem with the help of the camera. So then I can review that problem and see how I solved it later on. And I can evaluate if the solution that I gave to that problem was good or not. So basically my life is full of problems.
Sure. So what I find super interesting is that what you're doing is a super public way of figuring out how to better yourself, how to find what you're good at. How do you feel about that, sharing your life on the internet for everyone and all to see?
I wasn't sharing my life until the video number 1. I wasn't sharing. That's why I talked to you about the Share Your Work book of Austin Kleon. I think it's key to get feedback. Feedback is a very important part of life. If you don't get feedback, you will just get stuck. You will never move forward.
Right.
So sharing your work is getting feedback, basically.
But your work is to figure out what you're good at and how to be a better person, or like, and that happens to be, if you to share that work, like this guy they're talking about who's shared this book, his, I don't think he's saying like share your personal life, so I'm not calling you out, but because so many people share their personal life on the internet now, but that's so different to the way people lived 20 years ago. No one was tweeting their every thought. No one was sharing like what they had for breakfast. No one was, sharing the problem that they're dealing with today in life and how to fix it. And I'm just curious, like how you feel about, is that something you think about, or does it bother you to share it online like that? Or
well, there are some limits. I don't share myself naked on video on camera. Maybe half naked, yes.
Sure.
But there are things that I don't share. I don't even film them. I share everything I film. I just don't film it if I don't want to share it.
Okay.
That's my philosophy. Everything that I film has to be shareable, and I decide not to film what I don't want to share.
That's fair enough. Because like, for example, when I was following Casey Neistat, he was the first vlogger I ever, and I know you're not a vlogger, I'm not trying to say it, but Casey Neistat, when I was following him, he went through a process of like when he had a kid, and he was one of the first people that I was seeing share every moment of their life. Like he was relentless, like did not care about that. And when I saw him kind of put up his first line, like this first wall, like this is something I'm just not going to share. I was like, whoa, like that's kind of strange. Like I completely understand it's your kid, but it was interesting to see him find that line. Did you ever go through a stage where you found a line of like, I just don't want to share this with my audience? Or
No,
not yet.
I just don't film it.
Right. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Just don't film it.
But, Casey Neistat's vlogs are like 15 minutes length in
What are yours average?
Mine's are like sometimes 3 minutes up to 20. But that's a very short time of the day. If you think about a day, an average day, it's like 18 hours. We're 18 or 20 hours awake. The ones that sleep only 5 or 4 hours are 20. 20 minutes is nothing.
Yeah, but
of what is going on in a day.
Is it cut up? How much editing do you do for your videos?
I try to edit as less as possible. I just cut down to the important to make a compelling story. Because I don't like to get the attention out of what is important on that day, the problem.
Right.
Sometimes I get away from the main problem. I just cut it down to the essential. Sometimes I'm trying to think about this because I haven't edited a video where I have this problem yet. So I'm trying to remember another day where I had this problem. And I'm sure I have many, many days where I go so far from the main problem. And I'm trying to imagine the issues that I'm going to have when I sit down and edit those days. Probably I will move a lot of footage away and I will just cut down to the essential. But it happens when you record a lot of things that were not intended to be recorded.
Yeah. I was curious along your journey, how much of the stuff is creative work versus how much is like totally outside the realm of doing creative jobs? Like for me, I'm actually always interested in like, what would it be like to go back and be a carpenter? You know, something with you work with your hands. Like you were telling me about, you know, cutting salmon and that's something that I would, you know, a journey that I'm interested in. Is there anything else that like you did along the way?
Everything that you see here was made by my hands. Well, these shelves that we have here were built from the doors of my neighbor that is renovating his house. These were the doors, are 100 years old doors, and I just brought them here. I cut them and I transformed it into shelves. I'm very into building stuff. I wouldn't be able to find this kind of shelves that I wanted on IKEA, so I built them down.
Sure. Did you have any jobs along the way that were physical? Like what other jobs did you have?
Physical? You mean like a
physical, like carpentry, or you know, like I don't know. It could be anything and everything. I'm just more curious about this journey. Like what other stuff you were doing?
Well, when I was in high school, I was so into building stuff with my bare hands, and then I went into design school. I'm an industrial designer.
Oh, really?
But I'm not from the generation that is just designing on computers. I'm from the generation that was building things, actual things. So I try to fulfill that in my daily basis. I always try to fix something or break something to fix it when I'm bored and make a video out of it. But I never worked on building things, sadly. From the 2005 when I started working until today, I've been only working behind a computer. I mean, in front of a computer.
Right.
Sadly. You know, I had this crazy idea when I was 27. I wanted to become a worker in Wuhan. I wanted to work on a building for a week to see how it felt. I never did it, but I really, really want to do it.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. Just the other night, I was like driving my scooter around, you know, kind of just looking for random stuff. And I came across this construction site. I was able to drive my scooter right in, like just, it's basically the foundation of a mall. And, you know, the migrant workers, they will just kind of sleep in the construction site. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but it's fascinating because they're sleeping on these makeshift bunk beds. And I just went in there. They're all like half naked, just chilling in their underwear, and they did not bat an eye to me walking in there. And I'm filming with my camera, and I just start asking them questions like, "Hey, what's up? Like, where are you guys from? Like, why are you in Shanghai?" And they're all telling me about their experience coming here and why they have to work here versus, you know, their hometown. These are obvious questions I'm asking, but it's more just like to create an experience for the viewer. So, I mean, my Chinese is not good, so I don't think I asked the best questions, but I plan on going back with a Chinese friend and we can make some more fun videos just like showing, you know, like they're so happy just I don't know about so happy, but they are happy they have the opportunity to work and send money back to their family.
Right.
So I in terms of this story started because you said you wanted to work like that. Yeah, I think you've obviously seen stuff like that in Shanghai, these migrant workers, because you could do that here.
Yes.
You could just be a worker here.
Yeah, it could be. But I want to understand how people can focus on reducing to the minimal expression what you do in a day. Like if you are a worker, probably you're not going to have energy to do anything else.
That's what I think is so satisfying about the idea of being a worker is because like you're on a 9 to 5 in a sense, 9 to 5, like you start your day and you end your day, clock in, clock out. I envy that because in the creative field, I feel like we don't have that. We can always be making our edit better. We can always add extra footage. So that's what is so frustrating about being in this field.
Right. There is no finish line. But when you are a worker in a construction, you have a finish line because your energy runs out.
Exactly.
And you got to sleep.
Yeah, you got to sleep, of course. And like, at least it's so much easier to hit milestones in a construction site than it is on a, you know, a video program, because you can do all the work on a video edit and then all of a sudden at the end realize like, it's just wrong. It's all wrong. I got to go back. I got to start all over again. And with at least a construction site, like, no, it's pretty black and white. You hit the numbers you needed to hit. You put the pillars where they need to be, whatever. So that's what I envy about that type of work.
Yeah, we get lost in the process sometimes. There is no, in a construction site, there is no control C. You cannot undo and redo. You just keep doing and building up.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that's the beauty.
Yeah,
you cannot undo. That's so fantastic. It's not a 3D model. It's a real life.
Right.
And in real life, there is only one way. You cannot undo. No, there's no way.
I feel you. Do you have any more projects coming up? Tell me about the next. You said you have like 200 more days or something like that.
Yes, I have 205 more days.
205 more days.
Yes.
So what's the plan once you hit that?
The plan. All these 200 days are already planned. Great days to come.
Do you travel much during this, or do you stay in China almost the whole time?
You're gonna make me say it. I'll be traveling like on the last weeks of these 1,000 days.
Okay. Yes. But other than that, you've been in China almost the whole time?
Yes, I've been in Shanghai for all these 795 days. Wow. It's an experiment that is going on here.
That's crazy.
Just here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just for China or Shanghai, rather.
Just for Shanghai.
Wow.
Just for Shanghai.
That's well, man. I'm super excited to see where these next 200 days go. Maybe I'll catch up on the first 700. I have some catching up to do. But can you tell people where they can reach you on Instagram and YouTube so they can follow along?
Yeah, my Instagram handle is very simple. It's CAIG, Cake. And on YouTube, you can search my name, Camilo Koch.
Camilo Koch.
That's Koch for Koch. Camilo is CAMILO.
Great.
Yeah, on Instagram, I'm posting basically what's going on today. On YouTube, I'm posting what was going on 2 years ago. I started editing these 1,000 days when I was on day 655 to reduce the amount of days to finish this project. So basically, this project will end on the day 2,255. That's a lot of numbers.
It's a lot of numbers.
I remember all of them. Oh my God. Basically, I'm taking 1,600 days to edit these 1,000 days. So that will sum up to 2,255 days to complete this project. I want to edit them all by myself. I don't want to hire someone to edit the videos. That's like my promise.
That would be important to me as well too. I think I actually really enjoy editing all of my own stuff, but I hate editing. Well, I enjoy editing my own stuff, but I hate editing other people's stuff. When it comes to, working with a client and they move that clip like 2 frames to the left, I'm just like, oh my God, you do it at this point. Right. But if it's my own stuff, like I have the same passion that they have. Like I would want what they want. I want it 2 frames to the left. Like that would be important. So I completely understand wanting to, edit your own stuff.
Yeah, as a creative, we just hate to be told what to do. That's why we are who we are right now. We like this kind of freedom, which is not freedom at all.
Yeah, you know what? That's interesting. Like so many people are chasing this lifestyle that I think we're both kind of going after, like freelance, living on your own terms, not having a boss. Why do you think that is? What? Because it's so much harder than getting a boss, just having a stable income.
As I say, randomness doesn't exist and freedom also doesn't exist. There is no such a thing as freedom. The more you get into something, the less free you are, because you get more responsibilities, you get more knowledge. And well, some people may discuss that like knowledge is freedom. I don't believe in freedom. I don't believe in randomness. Being your own boss, I don't like the word boss, as I don't like the word office. So basically I reduce that expression to be your own. I just take the word boss away. So be your own. Your own. Yes.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. I think that's a good way to wrap up the show. Thank you so much for inviting me over to your space, Camilo. One more time.
That was amazing.
Instagram? Yeah. One more time, your Instagram?
KCAIG.
Perfect.
That's a perfect way to reach me.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for inviting me over. All right, bye guys.
Bye.
Boom, that's it. Thank you so much for listening. If you found this podcast valuable, there are many ways you can support it. You can rate and review it on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you listen. You can share it with your friends, you can blog about it, or discuss it on your own podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, you can subscribe to this channel and like the video, or you can support it directly. You can do this by going to my website. I'll leave a link in the description. Thank you for supporting the show. Listeners like you make it possible. Also, if you enjoyed the intro and outro music, it was made by my brother, Danny Greenberg. You can go and check out his beats at soundcloud.com/estoric, ESTORIC. Okay, that's it for now. Peace.